Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of Africa Today. In today's edition, we are going to talk about the heads of the African Constitutional Courts who are meeting in Cairo for the fifth conference. The heads of the African Constitutional Courts are meeting in Cairo for the fifth conference held by the Egyptian Constitutional Court. More details in the following story.
The heads of the African Constitutional Courts are currently in Cairo for the fifth conference held by the Egyptian Constitutional Court. The meeting was attended by Councillor Said Mar'i, head of the Egyptian Supreme Constitutional Court, and his deputy, Councillor Adel Omar Sharif. Addressing the event, El-Sisi welcomed the African judges, saying there is keenness to organize the conference annually to boost the African judiciary in appreciation to the role played by the constitutional courts in Egypt and in Africa. He said the current phase requires full coordination among the African states to build a comprehensive unified legal environment capable of facing challenges and forming a joint future for the continent. Mar'i said the meeting has a vital role to enhance judiciary cooperation on the African level and boost its active role in combating terrorism and achieving sustainable development. El-Sisi asserted Cairo's willingness to support its brotherly African countries to face similar challenges, as it will remain a pillar of stability and a source of enlightenment, spreading real moderate Islam and fighting extremist ideologies. The conference will continue its activities until the 16th of June.
Our dear viewers, to shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to have with us over the phone Dr. Mohamed Talaat, our international lawyer. Good afternoon to you, Dr. Talaat.
Good afternoon. Hi.
Hi, sir. Dr. Talaat, how do you weigh the level of Egyptian-African cooperation in the judicial field?
It's an extremely important event. This is a consortium of the chairmen of the various constitutional courts in Africa coming here in Egypt in order to access the principles and the precedents that the Egyptian Constitutional Court has been able to set over the years. It is definitely a landmark event, given that it is taking place here in Cairo, and it recognizes the efforts of the Constitutional Court in Egypt over the years and the additional value that the Egyptian Constitutional Court has been able to set forth with respect to the principles of the interpretation of the laws versus the Constitution over the years. So it is definitely, as I said, a landmark event.
Dr. Talaat, why are the African capitals keen on maintaining cooperation in that field?
Well, as I said, I mean, they're coming here in order to stand on the precedent and the efforts that the Constitutional Court has been doing over the years, and the precedents that the court has done in connection with the interpretation of the laws versus the Constitution. These are all valuable precedents that the Egyptian Constitutional Court has done, and the various African constitutional courts are coming in order to add value to them with respect to this issue.
Indeed. Sir, how would you cooperate in this field impact, the cooperation in that field impact the African continent in general?
It marks the importance of Egypt versus the African continent, and it recognizes that Egypt is part and parcel of Africa, and whatever contribution the Egypt is doing generally and with respect to the Constitutional Court is well taken and recognized by the different judicial forums in Africa, and accordingly they have decided to assemble in Egypt for that purpose.
Yes, indeed. Sir, how do you see Cairo's keenness to organize the conference annually?
Well, Egypt has been organizing conferences
Yes.
not only among the African courts but also among other courts. There was an assembly a number of years ago between the Constitutional Court in Egypt and the Constitutional Courts in Europe as well. So the efforts of the Constitutional Court in this respect is a landmark, and it recognizes the fact that the constitutional courts worldwide are appreciative to the efforts of the Egyptian Constitutional Court with respect to its doings and the interpretation of the laws that it has conducted over the years. So the fact that whether it's an African assembly or European or otherwise,
Yes.
it all reflects the appreciation of the different constitutional courts worldwide in connection with what the Egyptian Constitutional Court has conducted over the years in this field.
Yes. Sir, President Sisi said that the current phase requires full coordination to build a comprehensive, unified legal environment in Africa, which is capable of facing the challenges. How do you read the statement by the President?
It is a very constructive statement
Yes.
by the President, because Africa needs laws and regulations that would be similar to the laws and regulations that Europe has been able to enact. If you look at Europe and European Union, they have been able to come up with European laws and regulations to govern the common interests of the European countries. And Africa needs something similar, needs laws and regulations that would be similar in this respect. So there would be laws that are common among the different African countries and would reflect the common interests of the African countries in the relationship among themselves. It is something definitely would be a feat in the event that the African continent would be able to do it. Hopefully they will be able.
Yes.
It will be able to reach that goal one day.
Yes. Sir, President Sisi said that an integrated legal strategy is necessary in order to boost the African community's role in dealing with the challenges. How do you see that?
As I said, also, this is a constructive statement, because if we look back at Europe, there is European courts now that are in charge of the European interests among different countries. So it would be definitely good if the African countries can have similar judicial systems among themselves and would set up a supreme African court that would handle the common interests among the African countries and the relationship vis-a-vis each other.
Yes.
So hopefully we will be able, once again, we'll be able to reach this goal one day.
Yes, indeed. Sir, are you optimistic about more cooperation in the future between the different African states on the judicial level?
Yes, I'm very optimistic about that. Egypt is setting its sights at Africa, and it's doing its utmost in order to enhance the relationship between itself and between Africa, taking into consideration that it is an African country. Egypt has had a very long-standing judicial history. The judicial system in Egypt started in 1820, and ever since we have had courts, which is not the case in almost all of the African countries. So Egypt is very rich when it comes to its legal system, and other African countries will be able to copy and to take the Egyptian legal system as a role model for them. So this will definitely strengthen the relationship between Egypt and the other African countries when it comes to judicial systems.
Indeed, Dr. Mohamed Talaat, our international lawyer, thank you very much for your precious input, and thank you for being with us. Always a pleasure. And our dear viewers, moving on to our program, where Caro said that Africa has unlimited opportunities to turn into a global hub for industrialization. The statement was made during the African Investment Promotion Agency's, the IPAS Forum. More details.
Addressing the opening session of the Forum of the African Investment Promotion Agency's IPA's Forum, Karu said the African economy development can be achieved with full coordination and cooperation among governments, economic institutions and the private sector. Madbouli said the slogan of the Forum Integration for Development comes as an attempt to boost intra-African cooperation, which was negatively impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. He said the continent is qualified to realize huge development as soon as there are unified efforts and determination to fight conflicts and poverty. He said Africa is facing several challenges, including struggles witnessed by many African states, huge inflation rates, and above all, higher poverty rates. He also said the localizing industry is a pillar of sustainable development, which would enable Africa to be a global industrial hub.
They do fly very well. They rest up on the trees and also sleep up on the trees. These birds are critically endangered. The reason why they're endangered is how they breed. They take time to breed, about 7 to 9 years. If you stand up, you become that dinner.
Cairo sent a letter to the UN Security Council over the developments to the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Cairo and Khartoum have agreed to coordinate efforts to push Ethiopia to negotiate seriously on an agreement on filling and operating a giant dam it is building on the Blue Nile. More details with Sameh al-Sharif.
Cairo sent a letter to the UN Security Council in objection to Addis Ababa's plans to unilaterally move ahead with the second filling of the disputed Ethiopian dam, despite the lack of a legally binding agreement with the downstream countries Egypt and Sudan. The Foreign Ministry explained the latest developments concerning the long-running dispute over the controversial dam and included Cairo's refusal of what Ethiopia announced of its intentions to forge ahead with filling the dam during the current flooding season. In the letter, Shukri expressed Cairo's full rejection of the Ethiopian approach, which he said is based on forcing a fait accompli policy on the downstream countries through unilateral measures that tantamount to explicit violation of the international laws. Foreign Ministry spokesman Ambassador Ahmad Hafiz said that the letter was circulated as an official document to the UN Security Council that reveals to the international community the intransigent Ethiopian position which blocks regional efforts to advance the dam talks. Hafiz added that the letter includes Cairo's vision regarding the issue and its sincere efforts to reach an agreement that takes into account the interests of their three countries and preserve their rights.
Well, with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of this edition of our program Africa Today, where we have been talking about a very important meeting which took place here in Egypt, which is about the heads of the African Constitutional Court, which are meeting here in Cairo for the 5th conference held by the Egyptian Constitutional Court. Many thanks for watching.